Hi guys, and welcome to Dee's Media World. I know I haven't been here in like 2 weeks or so, but I have been super busy. But I thought it'd be fun if I came back at least with a review for the new Toni Braxton movie that came out on Lifetime tonight. It's called Toni Braxton Unbreak My Heart, her biopic film. And it was 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, I think like 2 hours and like 5 minutes or something like that. And overall, I mean, I think it was pretty good. Probably the best Lifetime has done. I mean, obviously, nothing's worse than the Aaliyah movie that came out in 2014. But this film actually was pretty good, and obviously, I think it contributes to the fact that Toni was like the producer and the writer or whatever for the film. Like, this is actually her story from her point of view, what she was going through, uh, what happened in her point of view of how it happened. Like, the Whitney Houston biopic, which I didn't do a review on, and the Aaliyah biopic, they were kind of like disasters because you're kind of doing a movie from the point of view of someone who's already has deceased. They're deceased. They're not alive. So we don't really know what they're feeling. Like we kind of already know this story in a way. But with Toni's story, I think one of the things she captured was what actually happened during her career. Like there's a lot that they show. They start off. I'm not going to summarize the whole film, but they start off with Toni. She's at her house with her family. This is like no, I think it starts off where she is singing in the choir with her sisters. And that's one thing I think the family what was it called, Braxton Family Values show actually told us about Toni was that her and her sisters actually used to sing together. They even did an album that didn't go anywhere, and they started off with that, and actually the film says that she got discovered while singing with her sisters, when actually the little movie or the little documentary they did right after the film said that she had actually been on like going out actually trying to get noticed as a solo act, and that she was like at the gas station, and this guy who did a Millie Navilli, I can't remember the name of that group, but apparently he wrote a song for them. Discovered Toni, and that's how she sort of started off, which makes a little more sense too. But in any case, those are small details that don't truly matter. Um, Really, just to talk about the movie in general, I think the casting as it went on was okay. At first, when I saw the girl who plays Toni, her name is Lex Scott. Her name is Lex Scott. She's really pretty, actually. She actually reminds me a little bit of Alexandra White, I think that was her name. Um, and she from the Aaliyah movie, where she's like really pretty girl who kind of doesn't look like that film. The girl looked nothing like her. This one, when she actually cut her hair, it looked like Toni Braxton. They cut her hair. Then I saw a little bit of resemblance. The weird thing about Toni Braxton and her sisters is if you actually look at her in the 90s, like 80s and 90s, and look at her now, you realize that all the family has gone through a lot of plastic surgeries. So to find someone who looked like Toni then and then looked like Toni now, I could understand why that would be a little bit of a challenge. No shade, I'm just saying it would be a challenge because Toni did actually look kind of different back in the 90s. I have a glare on my glasses. Um, and um, Along with that, I think the sisters were okay in terms of casting. I know a lot of people were throwing shade at the actress who played Tawanda, because let's see if I can find her name. The actress played Tawanda because they had her hair in like ponytails all the time. But Tawanda, I think, had ponytails a lot. So I don't know if that was shade or not. I don't think she would shade her own sister like that. Um, the film also, there are I think, two main things that the film told us that we probably may not have known about Toni. One of them is when she went bankrupt the first time, um, she won the case for that and got $20 million out of it, but she was not allowed to say anything about that until 10 years later, which I'm not really sure what year that was. May have been like I think it was the 90s. I think it was the 90s. And also, I think the other thing was that she went bankrupt a second time while she was also having lupus and dealing with a divorce, all like at the same time. It was pretty sad. I was like, geez, like she's really lucky to like still be living, and she still performs. That's what's amazing is that they were saying should never perform again, but she still makes music, and they said she won a Grammy last year for that album she did with Babyface, which I haven't listened to. I guess if you haven't noticed, I'm already a Toni Braxton fan. Of course, her first album, all her albums, well, not all of them, but the first three are solid, like really good albums. Like the first one, the second one, and third one, they're all great. She was really a star and deserved it. The funny thing, when they said that like her sisters and her had done an album, it almost felt like her sister's success was not meant to be because Tony's always seemed to come so effortlessly, and like her sisters, like they truly needed her in order to become even somewhat famous. I mean, they had been trying throughout her whole career, and then she gets on Values, the reality show that they said she didn't want to do but decided to do it for them. That's actually when they were noticed and they matter, especially Tamar, because Tamar had been trying to have a singing career probably since the 90s. It went nowhere. I saw she had an album in 2000, didn't do well at all, or she got no fame out of it. And it wasn't until probably 2012 or something like that. I don't know when her first album, her second album came out, but that's actually when she started to get a fan base. After the show came out, she got a fan base. She got, Tay Martians and all that stuff. And her sisters, they do other stuff too. And I felt kind of bad for them. Like Toni had, throughout the movie, they're saying she kind of felt, and even in the little documentary they did afterwards, that she felt guilty because she kind of had all this success and they sort of needed her. And I feel bad for her sisters because it must kind of suck for you to try hard on something on your own and then it not succeed, but you need someone else to actually literally bring you up with them for it to happen. Like I mean, gratefully, luckily it's their sister, but it's like, dang, it's almost like they weren't meant to be successful on their own, like in the way that Toni was. Now, obviously, Toni had help. That's when we bring in Babyface into the picture, and the guy who plays Babyface looks just like him. He's probably the only person who looks like the person he was playing. Let's see, what's the name of that actor? Gavin Houston. Gavin Houston is played. Oh, he's Brazilian. Interesting. Uh, he played Babyface, and apparently other people knew this actor. I saw on Twitter. Oh, he's been in some stuff. That's good. That's good. He's a good actor. He got the babyface mannerisms. Back to Lex Scott, who played Toni. I think she was okay. I realize in these films sometimes, like with the Aaliyah biopic, one thing that these two had in common, this one's way superior, but they kind of don't give the main character, like Toni or Aaliyah, they don't allow the actress to put personality into it. Like, they kind of said, okay, because I always felt that I don't know Toni, and I didn't really watch Braxton Family Values, but I just get the impression Toni had like swag and a coolness, like a cool factor to her. Like, chill, I think is the word I guess I'm looking for. And she doesn't, the actress who plays her doesn't really portray her. She just kind of is playing the going through emotions kind of person. Just things just kind of happen to her. Not a, and maybe that's uh the act, not maybe her fault, but how they wanted it to be. Like maybe everyone else is supposed to have personality and they didn't want her to have something. I don't know. Because I get the impression Toni doesn't have a big personality, but I feel like she would have like some type of essence to her because I feel like as a singer, listening to her music all these years and seeing a little bit of her on TV, that she would have sort of that swag factor that the actress didn't get. The one thing that was bad in this movie was the lip singing. It was terrible, and I didn't understand why because I mean Toni's not like a super expressive singer, but when they had the actress doing the lip singing, it just came off as weak. Like people who lip sing to music at home in their shower have much more emotion than what this actress was doing or what they were allowing her to do with the lip singing. But speaking of the music, it's great to watch a biopic film when the actual artist is singing. They're using Tony's actual voice, and I realized how much I missed that because I think with the Aaliyah film, and the Whitney Houston film, they weren't able to use the actual artist's music or voice. I mean, the actual artist's voice and music, actually. So it was great to hear when they were pretending to be Toni. Heck, I think even when they have the sisters singing, that was actually Braxton's sisters singing, which was great. I didn't know that Toni had long hair when she was younger, like long curly hair. The actress probably I think that might have been her own hair. But when I looked at some pictures. I'm like, oh, Toni had long, like curly hair before she had. For some reason, I envisioned her to always have that short hair because that's truly, in my opinion, truly the best look she's ever had was the short hair. I don't know if it's her styling artist or what it is, but to me, Toni has never looked like amazing with long hair. It always looks, it's not that she doesn't look good, it just the hair that when she has long hair, it always looks fake to me. And of course, like a lot of these artists wear weaves and stuff like that, but for some reason on Toni, it's so obvious that it's fake. It's like so ridiculously obvious. And then it's just like, just stick with short hair for the rest of your life. I would be totally okay with that. Pebbles was in this movie. She was like in the first 5 minutes or so. Well, not the real Pebbles, but that was the same woman who ripped off TLC. So I'm just pointing that out. I liked that when she told her family that she got a record deal and not her sisters, that it kind of thought, I was like, I don't know this family in real life, but it kind of felt like that was what they would have said. Like Tracy was the one who was like, you should go do this. You could help us out later. Like this is for you. And then I don't know Tracy, but that's actually the impression I would get from him. Like I could totally see Tracy saying that. I think the actress who played Tracy might have been the most accurate to the sisters. Um, the timelines were the timeline of the film I think was decent. It started maybe in 1989 or so to current day, obviously. But there were times where I'm like, when there was a point when she was married and her son had autism, and we just find that out. I was like, I don't know what year this is. They made an Obama joke a lot. It wasn't just me. People on Twitter were like, what year is this supposed to be? And I think someone said it's 2006. So I was like, oh, okay, okay. But generally speaking, I kind of got the idea. I mean, the movie, the pacing, I think the film was good for how much you have to think about how much of your life you're putting into 2 hours. You're literally putting 2 hours of your life. You've been, Toni Braxton's 48 years old, I think. She had to put like a solid, like 20 something years into 2 hours. So I think she did a good job. Whoever wrote the movie did a good job of trying to get everything in. I mean, I think they got like everything. Like how she got started, not even though that was not really true that she started that's how Babyface found her, but whatever. How she got started, uh, I'll get to the acne cream baby scene, abortion scene later. How she got started, getting a record deal, the issues she had with getting bankruptcy twice, getting pregnant, having abortion, marrying that dude, which I didn't know she married him after she had bankruptcy the first time. So she was bankrupt and he still wanted to be with her. Uh, bankruptcy, getting married, have kids, lupus, bankruptcy the second time. Uh, I think what happens after that? Then like starting the Braxton Family Values show, getting a divorce, starting the reality show. Like it's a lot to put into 2 hours. That's why biopic Lifetime movies aren't designed to be great because they want you to put 2 hours into like 25 years or so. Um, back to what happened with Toni. They were saying something like she had taken some kind of acne cream that for some reason affects your womb and like causes birth defects. I've never heard of anything like that. Like, wow, that was sad. I was like, gee, I didn't know that about Toni. And then they said she got an abortion later. I guess it's implied that she only dated Terry. What's his name? Kerry Lewis was the guy she married. She only dated him, and no one else, I guess, throughout that time. So I thought that was interesting. Oh, she got a boob job. I didn't know that, which was funny because it's like going from what I liked about that was that it was barely noticeable, and it kind of makes sense to have a boob job where it's not super noticeable because you want it to look natural and somewhat subtle. So I thought that was kind of funny that even her own mom was like, "Huh, you look different." Oh, and then her sister was like, "Oh yeah, I got a boob job." She got a boob job. What? I thought that was interesting. Oh, the part when I think they see her perform on TV for the first time, and she's sexy and she's wearing a short dress. I was totally predicting, like, most movies would be like, oh, this is the part where her family's going to be upset and want her to tone it down. And no, they were supportive, and they seemed to have no real problem with her being sexy, despite her upbringing. I thought that was interesting. Um, they took her Grammys. Now, I didn't know that they could do that because I guess Grammys are worth money. Um, I mean, I don't know if her name is on the Grammys. I don't know how that works, but they just took her gummies because they could, and she had to buy them back later. I was like, dang, who knew? Who knew? That was something new. Um, I think the older when they had the sisters age up, I don't think they looked anything like any of them really. The girl who plays Tamar, let me see what her name is. She doesn't look like Tamar. Um, Debbie Morgan was Evelyn, which is their mom, and Debbie Morgan was the most experienced actress on here. She's been acting. Let's see. Let me check. Click on here. She's been acting since 1970, so she always plays dramatic roles. So I think she played it pretty well. Who knew that? It's funny because their mom seems kind of chilled nowadays, but I actually was like, oh, her mom was like, their mom was super strict and like the devil's in the house and that kind of mom. I was like, okay, that was back then. Now she's kind of a little more laid back. I mean, what, her children are almost 50 years old and stuff, so I guess she got to let go at some time. I thought she was great as the mom. I haven't seen Debbie Morgan in a while. What has she been up to? um, let's see. Pregnancy, I mentioned that she had an abortion. She got married. I knew she had two sons, of course. They were actually at the end of the movie, which I thought was sweet. I was like, oh, the real Toni Braxton and the real babies. I think her son's name are Diesel and Denim. Interesting names. I didn't know that she lived in Atlanta. That was news. I thought she lived in California like all the other singers do. Apparently, her career was in Atlanta. Who knew? Um, oh, the parental problem. Even that came up. Her parents getting a divorce. Even that was in the movie. Like 2 hours, you put in like 12 different storylines or 12 different things. Or like I'm just saying a number. I don't know how many things happened, but a bunch of stuff. Her parents getting divorced. So even I don't watch the Braxton family show. I've seen like maybe 5 or 6 episodes, but even I knew that like the dad had like cheated on her, and the mom just, I mean, she may have forgiven him. No, she's gotten over it, but she's never actually forgiven him. Let's see. I thought that was interesting. The autism with her youngest son, her having lupus and fainting. I don't know how if that actually happened or not, but I felt so bad for her when they said because she had to cancel because of her disease, she still had to pay. She went bankrupt again. They didn't say. I don't think they said how much money she owed, but she went bankrupt again. Then during that time, had to get a divorce. Well, it's. I think I read that she separated from her husband like 2009, but then wasn't able to get that divorce till like 2013 or something like that. Um, Overall, that's kind of the highlights of the movie. Oh, something to comment on with Tamar's actress. Let me see if I can find her. Tracy Tiffany Hines. I feel like I've seen this actress before. Let's see. She has been. This girl looks familiar. I know I've seen her in something. No, I haven't seen. Oh, she was in Devious Maids. That's where I've seen her. Okay. She played like the black wife in season 2. Okay. Uh, she played. Some people were saying she was spot on. I thought she was fine. I don't think she was. Tamar is um very exaggerated as a person. But I thought she did a fine job. I thought she was okay. It was fine. Um, what does it say? Oh, there was a part where she said she was retiring from music. Never didn't know that. I didn't know Toni was thinking about retiring from music. I was like, just take a break. That's kind of your main way of making money. So take a break from making music. And then I thought it was cute that when we see the sisters in like the last shot, we see them with how their hair looks now. Because Tamar had like the tacky blonde hair, and Tracy had the red hair, like the really bright red hair. I just thought it was funny that they were doing that. But anyway, I've talked about this film for 20 minutes. The movie is good, I think. I would, if you're a Toni Braxton fan, I think you should see it. It's only 2 or so hours. Um, I mean, I think she did a good job. Let's see, in terms of TV biopics, is this better than TLC movie? That's a good question. I don't know. I think in some ways it is. In some ways it's not. Hmm, I think the casting was a tad better in the TLC biopic, but something. I think the storyline was more consistent with this. Like they were able to pack in so much in 2 hours that I was really impressed with that. The acting was okay. The acting was fine. Nothing, no bad acting, I wouldn't say. I think the girl who played Toni was fine. Hopefully she gets more roles after this, I would imagine. So, um, I think it was a good movie. I think, Toni Braxton fan, watch it. I'm sure everybody, I bet her iTunes check is going to come in with like twice the amount of money she expects. Because the good thing for her, for these biopic films, is that it gets people back into her music. And I think that's part of the purpose. It's like, I remember when I heard about the film maybe 2 months ago, people were like, oh, why is she doing a biopic film? And she's still alive and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, it's actually good to kind of do a biopic film when you're alive. You can tell your actual story, and there's nothing wrong with telling your story if you think it's interesting. Um, I think the film, I liked it. I think I learned some things about Toni I didn't know. Saw some things I'm like I knew that, but didn't really know in that way. Um, I thought it was really good. I liked the little documentary they did after the film. I thought that was nice. I think Lifetime and Toni did a good job with this. I wonder what her sisters think, particularly Tamar. I remember I saw a clip. She was on the reel. I think that was when I first heard about Toni doing the biopic film. And Tamar was not. You could tell she wasn't really pleased with the girl playing herself. I was like, the girl looks nothing like her, but I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I think that's really all I have to say. What do you guys think about the film? Would you watch it if what did you think if you saw it? What did you think about like Toni telling her story? Did you learn anything? Um, you probably did. I thought it was fun, and I'm glad to see Toni's doing well, and always been a fan. So I think that's it. So I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye.